This is my Proto 2000 Baltimore and Ohio FA2. I've had this thing for quite a long time, and I just bought a replacement for it, which happens to be a Bachmann Baltimore and Ohio FA2. And I'm going to explain why I'm choosing to replace the Proto 2000 one, which may seem nicer to some people, with this old Bachmann. And by old Bachmann, this thing really isn't that old. It was originally made in 2014, so it's newer than this other Bachmann thing. At least that's what I think. The box says 2014 on it, so that's what I'm going to go off of. But why did I specifically want one of these older Bachmann ones? A while ago, I was given a pair of FB2s along with a Bachmann F7A from another club member, and I used those for quite some time. I got rid of the F7A, and when I did that, I decided I needed an FA2, which is when I came across the Proto ones on eBay for about $150, which is about what I paid for this thing, essentially new in box, which is, I believe, an okay deal. I've been searching for one of these for quite some time, so that was about the best deal I've found in the past 6 months. Since I bought the Proto 2000 units, the Bachmann FB2s, which are models that I did really like, have just been sitting around for months on end, and I kind of decided I needed a Bachmann unit to go with the set, so I bought this one. There had also been some things about the Proto 2000 FAs that have been starting to bug me, which we'll go over soon, but for now, this is really just a replacement. I want it to match with my B units better, so I can leave those and actually use them instead of have them sit around and do nothing, and I can replace 2 older engines with a newer one. I have actually used this model quite a bit prior to this video, and I found quite a few things I like and a few that I'm not a huge fan of. This thing does actually run really well and can pull a ton of cars. That's something I knew from the B units, but this could be a monster of a power set, so I could probably pull some major train with just the 3 units I have. And other than that, really my only gripes are the couplers and the detail. This thing's a great engine otherwise, but the couplers were a huge pain. I don't like the Easy Mates, so I went and put on some Katie's, and that took a ridiculous amount of time, especially on the rear. I could not get the coupler at the right height whatsoever, and it took me about an hour of trying. It's my least favorite thing about these Bachmann units, but now it's got couplers on it that are actually good. While I have both these units out, I might as well give you a little bit of a comparison between these two FAs, which are actually based on slightly different years of Baltimore and Ohio FA models. First of all, I'm going to start up front where both of these models are technically wrong. So first off, we have the Proto 2001. There's no grab irons on either side of this front door, and there are some grab irons down here, albeit they're broken. That's something about this model I don't like. I'll get into that later. And on this one, there's no numbers on here. It's got a different headlight style, and it's got grab irons on the side here, but none down here. Both of these are wrong. From the pictures I've seen, they did not have any grab irons whatsoever on the front of the model. But the headlights being different is actually accurate. I believe at some point these B&O FA2s got some sort of rebuild or something, because there's quite a few details on this thing that are different than the Bachmann model, but that actually seems to be fairly accurate. Now, another detail up front which both of these models are missing. There should be some like louver vents up on the front on the side of the door here. Neither of them have them. So this isn't exclusive to either one. They should both have them, neither do. Now it's onto the roof, where the greatest difference between these things lies. So, as you can see, this one's pretty basic. It's got 2 different horns here, it's pretty blank up here, has a little, I believe, exhaust vent here, it's got something here, and it's got the fan on the back here, which actually looks really good. And this thing does look pretty basic. There is one thing I would actually like to change about the roof of this model, and you'll see it on this Proto 2000 unit better. These little hook things on here are actually hollow, I guess that's what you could call them. So what I want to do on this thing in the future is drill those out just a little bit, make it look a little better, if that's at all possible, or cut them off and remove them and replace them with new parts. But as you can see, the roof of this one is significantly different. It's got a different horn, there's all this extra stuff up top. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's very clearly different, and the fan looks to be about the same. So at some point, again, when these things got updated, all this stuff was added. I've seen pictures of the real things where the Baltimore and Ohio FAs in this scheme have all this detail stuff up here with this horn, and I've seen other photos where these older Baltimore and Ohio FA2s have essentially nothing up here in these style of horns. So there are some pretty major variances between the same locomotive, which is kind of weird. Next, I'm going to move on to the sides, where both these locomotives are actually really similar. There's only some small differences. Mainly on the Proto 2001, all these handrails are plastic. This is something I really don't like. They all seem to break, even with really careful handling. So the Bachmann one actually has metal handrails and whatnot, which is really nice. I like that a lot more, and I think they look way better than the ones on this thing. But there are a few very small things on the side of this thing that look better than the Bachmann one. First of all, the side of the trucks. These are much more detailed, they look a lot better and a lot more realistic than the Bachmann one. I hope I can find some replacement truck covers or something for that thing, because it would look a lot better if those trucks got an update. And the second thing are the steps on the side of the Proto 2000 unit are way more pronounced than they are on the Bachmann unit. Again, this isn't anything major. I don't know if this is actually a difference between when these things were updated or not, but it's just something different that I'm aware of. And there's just a very slight difference. There's something in this hole on the plow for the newer style model, and there is a just big hole on the older Bachmann one. And by older, older in terms of era. And on the back, they're mostly the same, but one detriment towards the Bachmann one is this whole thing up here, I don't know exactly what it's for, is very bulky compared to the thin Proto one. And the Proto unit has a working diaphragm back here. I have some spares, so I might throw one on the back of this model. It would also help with the coupler gap, but that's just something nicer about the Proto unit. So that's the end of the comparison between these guys. I think it's pretty weird how they're actually radically different, despite both being somewhat accurate. And as I mentioned, I do want to do a little bit of work to this unit in terms of the cosmetics eventually, like that diaphragm, opening up the holes on these little semicircle things on the roof, whatever they're called. If someone knows exactly what they are, please do let me know, because I'd like to know what purpose these things serve. And I do also want to add numbers to this thing, because Bachmann sold them unnumbered, which I just think is kind of lazy. So I want to number this one specifically to 823. I also need to make a little square styrene plaque, or more like a rectangle styrene plaque to go here, because these older ones from the early 1950s actually had a number on there as well, but the later rebuilt ones don't have that. I don't know why, it was just something else weird they did. These were very weird models with their little details. I didn't even go that in depth. I was just looking at pictures, and I've noticed that both these things that are different between the models are accurate, and there's a lot of weird things going on with these things. So overall, I think this is a great model. It runs really well. It's got some little detail work that needs to be done, but I think it was well worth it, which means soon the Proto units are going to go down the road. But before we close this out, how about I run this thing for quite a bit? I took it to the club the other day, and I got a bunch of clips of it with a B unit hauling around my coal train that I still need to expand on. In the end, I'm quite happy with this thing. I know it's not perfect, it'll make for a good project, but this will be an engine that serves really well for my coal train. But what do you think? Do you think I should have stuck with the Proto 2000 units? Do you think trying to detail this thing's a terrible idea? Do you have any advice on detailing this thing, on what parts I need? Do you know anyone who makes really good truck covers for these things? Do you have any advice? Any thoughts? Anything? Please do let me know.